Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are watching this. Know that I appreciate you. It is I, Jay, and I'd like to welcome you to another day in the daily life of Jay. It is Monday morning, and guess what date it is? It is Monday morning, February 1st. Are you kidding me? It is February 1st. That means that the month of January is done. Now, of course, by the time you see this, it will be probably the 8th or the 9th. So that means that we'll have had a whole week go by the time you see this. Oh, I got 15 freaking minutes. So, I'm sorry. It is Monday, February 1st, 2021, and it is 8:45 in the a.m., and I am headed to work. Now, why am I so freaking late? Because I had intentions of leaving out about 8:10 in the morning and going to Walmart, picking up some snack bars and a piece of fruit, and then heading to work, hitting the freeway and heading to work because the freeway entrance is right there. Well, the husband had other ideas. He wanted me to go get some stuff for him, and I was not going to go to two different stores, and I still wanted to get my snack bars and my fruit. So I went to one store. I still went to Walmart. I got everything there, but of course, it's Walmart. And mind you, it's not super busy right now, but it's still Walmart. It's still Walmart. So I had to run, get all that stuff, come back home, drop it all off, and then get in the car. So the fruit bars that I got are these. I like this brand. Not sponsored. I like this brand because it really is what it says it is, at least that I have tasted. I've not tried that flavor though, so I'm glad that they had that flavor. And I buy them by washer fluid. I buy them by the box instead of individually because they are more expensive when you buy them individually, even at Wally World. So I buy them by the box. I get more for the money. I get more. Don't want to be on here. Oh no, I'm not. I am not getting on that. Already backed up. Nope, not doing it. Not doing it. I was gonna get on the freeway so that I can be right on time. The freeway is backed up, so I will be going in a different direction. I'm following this waste truck that is in front of me because he saw the same thing that I saw. He was about to get on the freeway too. So I like their bars because they are, I mean, seriously, they are only a few ingredients, a few natural ingredients. This is 7 ingredients. I can't read to you everything that's in here right now because I gotta drive. Each bar is 190 calories. That's a lot of calories for each bar, but it's gluten-free, non-GMO, vegan, and dairy-free, which all is perfect for me considering my allergies. So that works for me. That absolutely works for me. Where is the UPS store? Because I'm looking at 4 UPS trucks, so there must be a UPS station around here somewhere. What was I going to say? So I did all of that and then had to come back home to drop off his stuff. And I just grabbed the stuff that I needed to have right now, which was that one box of snack bars. I bought 3 different flavors, but I got the one box and an apple and a pear. So I grabbed my one box, I grabbed my pear, washed it off, and now I'm headed to work. I am now going to be late, which, hey, it is what it is. But yeah, I am now going to be late because that freeway is jacked. And if I were on the freeway, oh gosh, I wonder if my coworker is on there. She lives out further than I do, and there's always, almost always, coming from where she's coming from, some kind of incident on the freeway. I tell you guys, there's always something happening on the freaking freeway. Mondays are horrible. Fridays are horrible, especially Monday morning. Fridays are doggy. Especially Friday mornings and Friday evenings and Monday mornings. Those are the 2 worst times to be on the freeway here. Probably anywhere, but especially here. So I wonder if she's on it, because she has to get on it. I'm sure there's another way, but she probably doesn't travel that way. Oh goodness. So anyway, how did you sleep? How was your weekend? How did things go for you? Did you get everything accomplished that you wanted to get accomplished? Did you do the things that you wanted to do? Were you productive this weekend? Or did you just relax because that's what you needed? You needed to relax. How did it go for you? This sun is shining on me so freaking bright. I love it. I love it. Let me get in this thing real quick. Okay, so I don't have to. I still have oatmeal in my teeth from my cereal. I can feel it. So what did I do this weekend? Well, I finished cleaning my office. I told you guys that I purged quite a bit of paper. So this weekend, everything that needed to be shredded, I shredded this weekend. Every single thing that needed to be shredded, I shredded this weekend. That I had 2 bags, 2 small bags, not like full-size kitchen garbage bags, but 2 small bags of just garbage, just paper that I didn't need to shred. And then I also had what equated to probably 2 full kitchen garbage bags. What is this animal doing? 2 full kitchen garbage bags of shredded paper, because it had to be shredded. So I got all of that done, vacuumed, cleaned up my desk, even though it's not really clean. I just took the paper and put it somewhere else. But I actually need to go through it all. So I'll probably do that this week, is go through it all. And I did my webinar yesterday. I did my webinar entitled, "You Have the Vision Board, Now What?" And what I found out in my communication with God this weekend is that, and I'm still wanting to make certain that this is what I hear him saying. So before I announce it in real time, I've got to be certain that what I'm hearing is what he's actually saying to me, and it's not what I want. Because I certainly don't want to put anything more on my plate that I can actually chew, never mind ingest. So I'm going to be broadcasting one Sunday per month, probably the last Sunday of the month. Probably the last Sunday of the month is when I'll be doing it, but I need to be sure that that is what I'm hearing God say. And when I say broadcast, I use that word purposely because I don't know if it will be live or if it will be recorded. It may not always be a live broadcast. It may be a recorded broadcast. So, but again, I'm trying to make certain that that is what I'm hearing the Lord say for me. And when I do post it in real time, I will be posting it so that I can get ideas of what it is that people want to talk about. And then we go from there. And in a sense, this is like a podcast, whether it's live or recorded, but it's much more intentional. It's much more intentional. So I have to decide, one, if this is what God is saying to me, one, how I'm going to do this, and then two, and when I say how, I mean what method I'm going to use. Am I going to use Facebook? Am I going to use IG? But then two, once it's done, how am I going to submit it to the world, broadcast it to the world? Because if I do Facebook, then it's just on Facebook. But once I download it and format it, then I can send it out to the world a different way. I can put it on YouTube on my pro channel, or I could use it truly as a podcast and put it on podcast platforms. So I have to figure out that part. But before I figure out any of that, I need to know if this is truly what God wants me to say and God wants me to do. And I already have some insight into the different platforms, the different avenues, only because it's something that I kind of looked into already for myself. But this is something a little different, because for myself, I was struggling with what it would be entitled. And with this, it is, not just entitled, but content as well. But with this, and a name just hit me. I don't know if I'm going to use it though. It is, if I'm hearing God correctly, it is God mandated. So I have to follow where He leads, and I know that He will open the pathways. But I just need to be certain that this is what He wants me to do. So yeah, that is something that I'm thinking about. But yeah, I did the webinar, and a whole point of me saying everything that I just said is I have hit the realization, and I had to take my own advice yesterday. But I've also come to the conclusion that in order for me to be obedient to what I know God is saying for me, what He has already confirmed that He is saying to me, I must show up even if no one else does. I must show up even if no one else does. And I'm praying that this person knows where they're going, because right now they're just in my way. But I must show up even if no one else does, because the bottom line is that everything that God has me doing isn't just for me, it is for other people. So even if I do all of the advertising and marketing that I can do, and it still doesn't hit the right person in the time frame that I would like for it to hit them, it's still meant for someone, and that person will catch it when they catch it. And I've said this before. It does not matter whether there is someone on my broadcast, whether it's a live, whether it's my YouTube channels, it does not matter if I don't have a wide audience. The person that is supposed to get the message will get the message when they're supposed to get it. And I think that's something that a lot of us entrepreneurs need to come to terms with, especially when we're dealing with social media. Because social media would have us believe that if we don't have the audience show up right then and there, we are failures. And that's not the case. A lot of times what it is that we need to get out just needs to get out, and the person that's supposed to come across it will come across it. If it's their message, they will come across it. Again, I have said this more than once, more than twice, probably more than 5 times. I have said this in some variation. I've said this when I've talked to others and they're looking for this perfection, or they won't produce it if it's not absolutely perfect. They're not going to do it. And what they're doing is not only stunting their growth, but they're also blocking the blessing that someone else is supposed to get from the message that they were supposed to deliver but chose not to because it wasn't perfect. Anything Christ creates is perfect. So even though it doesn't fit your image of perfection, which your image of perfection is influenced by what others believe perfection is, not what God believes perfection is. Yeah, decently in order, absolutely, it needs to be decently and in order, which means that you must be as organized as you possibly can. But perfection, man's take on perfection, we're not trying to meet that. We're not trying to meet that. Not as children of God. We're not trying to meet man's idea of perfection. That's not what we're trying to do. At least that's not what I'm trying to do. I gave up that battle, internal battle, because that's really what it was. I gave up that internal battle a long time ago because I knew at a very young age that I would not ever meet man's perception or man's idea of perfection, because I didn't fit into what this descriptive that they had. I didn't fit it. Even though I had some of the attributes of what, especially physically, even though I had some of the attributes, I didn't have them all. As soon as I think I had all of the attributes, they come up with something else. Okay, and then I acquire that one, and then they come up with something else. And I was like, you know what? To hell with it all. Who's perfection? Who am I trying to please, man or God? And am I happy trying to please man? I'm not? Okay, cool. Let that thing go. And I'm not saying that it was an overnight revelation. I'm not saying that it was something that I stepped into wholeheartedly and progressed consistently in, because again, I'm human. So I was a little hesitant to do it, but when it finally clicked, I was like, you know what? This ain't about you, and this is barely about me. I'm good. I'm good. I am good. Get into this next lane. So maybe that's a message for someone else out there. Stop trying to fit man's image of perfection, their perception of what perfection is. You'll never, no matter what you do, how hard you work at it, you'll never be man's perfection. You'll never fit it. Have you ever noticed how many people, and this is so not where I was going with this today, but have you ever noticed how many people have plastic surgery, extreme plastic surgery, to fit this idea of what perfection is, and it messes around and makes them look like cartoon characters and not the good ones? Not the good ones. Like, you might be going for Jessica Rabbit and you end up looking like olive oil, or you end up looking like, you know, somebody from the Itchy and Scratchy show, or, you know, you Eustace and his, I can't remember the name of that little cartoon. My kids loved that cartoon when it was coming up. When they were coming up. Was the worst thing I'd ever seen in my life at that time. Outside of Itchy and Scratchy. And what was the other one with the, was it the Itchy and Scratchy show? Whatever the case. We end up, having this plastic surgery to look like what we think perfection is, and our image of perfection has been influenced by others' images of perfection, and we end up looking like somebody ran us over with a truck, and we were balloons, and the air went to certain places that it really, shouldn't have gone to. Our faces have been disfigured because we've gone to the wrong people to do this surgery. They should have told us, no, you don't need nothing else. You scaring me as it is. Looking like a doggone cat. People walking around here looking like dolls, like plastic dolls, because they're trying to live up to man's image of perfection. They're destroying themselves physically and more than likely mentally and emotionally. They've already been destroyed, which is why they're trying to do this. Trying to live up to someone else's perfection. Someone who cannot put them in heaven nor hell. As much as, we send folk to hell, we can't put nobody there. That ain't our job. And we're destroying ourselves because we're trying to fit it. So I got to a point where if you show up, awesome. But if you don't, that's okay too. Because my directive is to be obedient to what God has called me to do. To say what God has called me to say. To be where God has called me to be. And I gotta show up even if nobody else does. So while the webinar was a success, in my image, in my mind, it was a success because I did it. It wasn't necessarily a success in the audience, having the abundant audience. But again, that is man's image of success. I didn't have a massive audience. But I'm okay with that. When I tell you, baby, when I sat back and watched that replay, I was like, girl, did you do that or did you do that? I did that. And I had to thank God for it because I went wholeheartedly in, assured that whatever it was that he wanted me to do or say, I was going to do or say, and whomever it is that he has that message for, they will get it in due time. Plain and simple. They will get it in due time. And I'm not going to not do what I'm supposed to do just because the audience didn't show up. That's not the case. I'm still going to do what I'm supposed to do. Still. So I am waiting to hear what the Lord is saying to me about doing this broadcasting every last Sunday of the month, talking about anything and everything. I may have guests, I may not. My husband may show up. Oh, that's too loud, sorry. My husband may be there to do it with me. He may not be there to do it depending on how he feels. And if this is truly what God is saying, then I am going to put it out there in real time to start getting topic suggestions, topical suggestions, and go from there. I'm not overly concerned about the finances behind it or the finances as a result of it. Because it's God's. It ain't mine, it's God's. And whatever it is that he wants to do with it, I'll he has to do is let me know, and then I'll follow suit. And that's on him. I just have to execute it. He is my boss, my employer, my source. And my job is to do what it is that he has assigned to me to do. Just like if I were to go to work, I'm going to work for someone right now. Whatever it is that he wants me to do, ethically, morally, upright, I will do. It's just the payment is different. And again, I'm not even worried about the finances as it pertains to how to make this happen or what's going to come because of it. I'm not concerned with that. That's not my concern. Not my concern. Not my concern at all. It ain't my business. Whatever God does is what he will do. So whether he makes me a 100-aire, 1,000-aire, or a millionaire, great. But if he makes me none of that, I'm not worried about that either. I'm trying to be obedient. So, yeah. And I went off on, in all truthfulness, a flippin' tangent. But I think it was one that someone needed to hear. Whenever I go off like that, I think it's usually something that someone needs to hear, because it's just what they need to hear. I don't typically, well, I won't even say that. I was going to lie and say I don't typically go off on tangents, but I do. And that's simply because I don't really have a path for this. I don't have a script for this. I don't have, oh, that lighting is amazing. The way that it's hitting me. Baby, ain't I cute? Ain't I cute? The way that I do this is in the raw and natural. I don't script any of this. For my webinars, yeah, I've got a little bit of a script. I've got an outline. And if I'm going live, I've got a little bit of a script. I've got an outline. But for this, for my daily vlog, nah. It's just whatever, oh, you poor thing, whatever comes to heart is what I say. And notice I said heart and not mind. So I am just about at the office. Starting today. Our second person is no longer. They were actually going to be relieved of their duties, and before we could do that, they sent their resignation in. Like the morning that we were going to do it, I let my employer know that it needed to be done, and he said okay. And then 3 minutes later, 5 minutes later, something like that, he sent me a message saying, oh, I just got a resignation letter. So before he could even send the letter out that the person was no longer needed, they resigned. And I really think that what happened is that the guy, she's stuck in that traffic, that the guy found employment elsewhere. And that's what happened with him. Yeah, she's not here yet, so she's stuck in that traffic. All right, so I'm going to get off of here so I can get in the office, reach out to her and let her know that I know what's going on. And I avoided it, but I'm still late. So yeah, peace and blessings. Remember to walk in your purpose and know that I appreciate you.